Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our first regular meeting in March. We would first like to begin by acknowledging that we're in Robinson Superior Treaty Territory and that the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe and the Métis. Look for approval of the agenda in the open session. We got one add-on in other business, declaration of surplus asset, and that'll be number 2 in other business. That's all I have. Does anybody have anything else? Hearing nothing. Anybody, any disclosures of interest? Hearing none, we have no delegations. Question period.
No questions.
No questions? Okay. We'll move on to minutes of previous meetings. Resolution 94-23. Moved by Councillor Bryson, seconded by Councillor Bourgeau, that the minutes of the Council and Committee of the Whole meeting held February 28, 2023 be accepted as circulated. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Carried. Resolution 95-23, moved by Councillor Bourgeau, seconded by Councillor McGrath, that the minutes of the special council meeting held March 7th, 2023 be accepted as circulated. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Business arising from the minutes. Is there any business arising from the minutes of the February 28th or the March 7th meeting? Hearing none. Committee of the Whole recommendations. Resolution 96-23. Moved by Councillor Bryson, seconded by Councillor Bourgeau. The council received the council expense and remuneration report for the year ended December 31st, 2022. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Resolution 97-23. Moved by Councillor McGrath, seconded by Councillor Bourgeau. The council accept the fixed fee cost proposal from the Ontario Clean Water Agency for the Schreiber drinking water system filter performance assessment in the amount of $27,495, excluding applicable taxes. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. 98-23. Moved by Councillor Bryson, second by Councillor McGrath. The council support the Lake Superior North Shore Tourism Project Phase 2 with an annual contribution of $1,200 per year for the years 2024, 2025, 2026. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Accounts for payment. Resolution 99-23. Moved by Councillor Bryson, seconded by Councillor McGrath, that bank debits paid out of the general bank account in the month of January 2023 in the amount of $17,285.26 be approved and ratified. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Resolution 100-23. Moved by Councillor Bourgeois, seconded by Councillor Bryson, that checks issued on the general bank account in the month of February 2023 in the amount of $253,655.60 for general accounts payable be approved and ratified. Discussion?
I have a couple. Anybody else? No?
Go ahead.
Marlene?
Yep.
How do you want this? Cloud Darling Limited, February 17th, check number 26529. $11,610. Do you remember what that was for? Was that like for part of this project here at the municipal office? Or was that something different?
11,000.
$610 and 75 cents.
Which page it's on here?
I'll just look it up for you.
It's on the
It's on page 1.
That's the maintenance agreement from June of 22 to February 23 because they didn't bill us. So we didn't pay, it was set up as a payable at the end of the year, but they hadn't invoiced us.
Okay. So is this a 2022 expense or is it like prorated between those months?
It would be prorated.
Prorated.
Yeah.
And that was for, sorry, what months?
June the 1st, 2022 to February 28, 2023.
February 28. Okay. And on page 2, check number 26513, Nova Pro. $5,448.
Was typically signage, Tabby?
It's one of those apartments.
Yeah, usually I'm just trying
We
to.
didn't
Are
do
you-
that.
You said
That's before the motion.
26513 was the check number?
Yep, 26513.
And that's, so the check is for 2 different invoices.
Oh, okay.
The majority of it is for cutoff saw and blades, and the other portion of it is for salt for our buildings,
So it's not signage.
No,
not signage.
not in this case.
And then last. Marlene, on the very last page, there's 3 checks in a row, all for Superior Propane, all in different amounts totaling about just $16,000 or $17,000. So these, do these go to, because I can't tell by looking at them, are these banked like 2 separate GLs because they're different buildings? You want check numbers?
Sure.
26457, 26534, 26561. There are three in a row, the 3rd, the 17th, 28th of February, all for Superior Propane. 4,300, 6,700, 5,200.
So you said 26534 was one of them?
Yeah,
So that one has two different buildings on it.
okay.
And then what was the other check number?
26457.
Yeah, that would be library and municipal office.
That one. And then 26561.
Public Works Garage, Medical Center.
So then here's my final question. So we're paying them with three different checks. Is that because of like their invoicing comes in differently and that's why we do that?
Yes, because they're smart tanks, so when they get to a certain level, it flags Superior Propane to come and fill.
Okay, so we're paying by fill date then, obviously.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
And I guess, might as well, in Hydro One, it's different meters, and that's why they're,
Yes.
yeah. Okay.
Thanks, Ronnie.
No problem.
Thank you, Marty.
Hearing no more discussion, all those in favor? Carried. Resolution 101-23, moved by Councilor McGrath, seconded by Councilor Burgeau. The bank debits issued on the general bank account in the month of February 2023 in the amount of $56,499.48 for payroll be approved and ratified. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. So we'll move on to unfinished business. Resolution 102-23. Moved by Councilor Bryson, seconded by Councilor Burgeau. The council authorized the capital expenditures included in the OCWA 2023 recommended capital / major and minor maintenance report in the amount of $214,400 excluding applicable taxes. Discussion? All those in favor?
Jeremy, just real quick. The grinders, this is a definite go?
I'm still having conversations with OCWA. We're going to try and get permission from the MECP to make the change on the ECA, but not open the ECA until we do the dechlor. But we need response from them first.
So, well, if that changes and we don't have to go with these grinders, we'll just rescind this motion and remake a new one? Is that the general thinking, Nathan?
Basically, this motion is authorizing that purchase, but should that be the case, let's just say it comes in, for instance, if it does come in, well, we're not doing that purchase anymore, at that point, that other purchase would have already authorized that, so it's, you could rescind it at that point, but keep in mind that that is also, you'd have to rescind it and then allow it another one with all those purchases again, which may have, some purchases may have already
But
occurred.
me, okay.
So it's a bit complex.
So when do you think we'll know about the grinders? Because that's a pretty big chunk of that. Those grinders are
Oh,
90,000.
absolutely.
They may have to stay on the 10-year plan, depending on what the ministry says.
Yeah.
But so if they they
Yep.
say in the 10-year plan,
Yep.
we're not going to keep moving $90,000 back and forth every year for 10 years, are
Ex-
we?
ex- Exactly. I mean, right now we're just trying to determine. It's a bit too early. I mean,
Okay.
in basically this approval will allow us to proceed from a compliance perspective. That being said, it does come down to a bit of math when it comes to money. We're sort of looking at the finances when it comes to potentially opening the ECA. Unfortunately, there's no guarantees associated with this, right? So although Tammy and OCWA can have that conversation with MECP, there's no guarantee that they're gonna allow that. We don't know until those conversations do happen.
So will council be advised
Yeah.
if and when this 90,000 is or is not a goal?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I
Okay.
mean, it's gonna have a huge impact when it comes to budgeting.
Well, it's
so.
a huge impact, yeah. Okay.
There was another part of that too, was, can they be refitted?
They are seized and like they're
They can't be-
absolutely
can't be
trash.
refurbished, and
No.
then, did you get a timeline on when they'd be available?
The communitors?
Yeah,
No, we don't know when they'll be available at this point because
Yeah.
we're focusing on not putting them
Yeah.
back in.
in.
so you gotta go through that first.
Yeah, but we have to make the record right so that it's accurate.
All right.
But when this all comes down, we're gonna get something else that says, hey, yes, we
Oh,
need them, so this
absolutely.
motion's good, or no, we didn't, and so don't worry about budgeting this.
Yep, absolutely.
Sorry.
No problem. All those in favor? Carried. Okay, won't read out a resolution, was we're gonna talk about the arena project. Ethan, you wanna talk about it, or you want me to?
No, that's fine. I can speak to this here. From what we had previously put forward, it was a contribution of $80,000 that we would be putting towards the grant at a 75-25 ratio. I just wanted to clarify the scope of what you would be getting in that. Just to make it clear, it did, at $80,000, it did not include any radiant heaters. If you're looking at adding those radiant heaters, you'd be looking at a cost of $56,000 to the project cost. So that would be approximately an additional contribution of $14,000 at the 25% we're contributing. So it would increase the project cost to $376,000. And council would be committing a total of $94,000 at 25% of the total project cost, so an additional $14,000. Also recommended to budget in contingencies. If council, for instance, budgets a 20% contingency, we're looking at a total project cost of $451,200. Where council would be committing $112,800 at 25% of the total project costs. And this would then protect you in case there are any change orders. You can at least get those change orders covered at a 75% ratio. 75-25% ratio. Ultimately, where you have to determine is, again, what level of scope you're comfortable with. Of course, you can choose to certainly keep it at the 80,000 that was formally decided, but just wanted to clarify that that did not include any heat to the arena.
I would, I would go ahead with the latter, where the portion of ours was 112,800, and to clarify what you're getting with for that is you're getting the chiller, which we need, and you're getting a new brine pump. They recommend doing it now. It was on their radar. If you didn't do it now, and that's 15,000 included in the 185. If you didn't do it now and you had to do it later, it would be 60,000 because you'd have to take the system apart again, basically.
So our last meeting where we were discussing this 185,000, we were thinking the brine pump wasn't included, but it actually is,
Actually is.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Some of us were, I think.
but it is. It's actually included.
Yep.
Yeah,
Correct.
in that original amount. Okay.
So then the two burners that are there now will be heating the domestic side of the arena, which is the hallway, your dressing rooms, your kitchen area, whatnot. And the Zamboni Olympia, some people calls it Olympia and not the Zamboni. I better watch myself here. And it would be going on a hot water demand, and that would take the pressure off the boilers that are heating the domestic side. But in doing so, you're not going to have any heat flowing into the arena. And like I believe it was Benji said last meeting that he wanted to see, and I totally agree, the radiant heaters over the spectators, and it only makes sense. So that's why I would recommend our expense at 112,800 at 25%, and put in the grant that way. Hope I was clear enough.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I agree with that. I mean, if we don't use the contingency looks fine to me. If we don't use it, then we don't use it.
Right.
Or 25% of that we just won't spend. I mean, it's even better.
To clarify, if any money is to be spent for the contingency amount, we would be bringing change orders to council.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you would be in control of spending of that
Right.
contingency.
But this way, we get a new brine pump, new chiller, new heating system, and radiant heat in the arena.
Correct. And I mean, a lot of people look at the biggest part of it as the radiant heat of the arena, but the biggest part of it is the chiller. We need that chiller, or you're not gonna have an ice plant.
And in terms of return on investment, there is the hope. Of course, I don't have the numbers right now. It's one of those things you have to implement to see, but there's the hope that there would be energy savings. Right now, because there's no insulation between the heating system and the ice plant, they're competing to that degree. So think of it of leaving your fridge door open, right? It's going to have to work harder to heat up, to freeze whatever you have in there. So hopefully these efficiencies will lead to energy savings, and even though you are putting in a bit more energy in consumption with the radiant heaters, I believe that it can be set to be turned on just temporarily for when spectators are gathering. Is that correct, Tabby?
Yeah, we'd have it on switch where our staff would only turn it on for spectator events. So if nobody's in the bleachers,
They're not
there's
gonna
no
turn it on.
need to have it on.
So Nathan, I don't recall, and my memory's not the greatest, but how far off are we now from the original recommendation that included the roof and the?
That was,
48,000. You needed 160.
it was 160, it was 160 something, yep. The roof, I believe, Tammy, you got pricing that came in for that, that was 50,
The arena roof would be 62,893.
Sorry, how much?
62, well, almost 63,000. Just under 63,000.
And plumbing?
Plumbing is 45,000, but that was including the replacement of the whole pillar where the shower, like the shower is in a circle,
Okay.
and those are outdated. The mixing valves need to be retrofitted in order to work with that old hardware, so 45,000 for that.
And carpentry?
6,000.
So there's 108 and 6, so that's another additional 114,000 to get all of it done. So those numbers have changed a little bit too.
And our cost would be
25% of that.
25% of that
20,500.
plus contingency. Correct?
Correct, so
I thought those
that would be
numbers were up at a 90-10.
41,300.
Just
Would be our cost.
the 90-10 split
Rather than 160.
comes when you're spending $200,000 or less. Anything over 200,000,
Gotcha.
you were 75-25.
Backwards.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
why
Okay,
was
good
that
enough.
reduced from 160?
We got more definitive pricing. We were working with estimates for the roof repairs
Mhm.
and the plumbing. So she was able to get that pricing in
Yeah.
to narrow that down to a more precise number.
145, so that's another opportunity.
We can look at that later.
Like you wanna look at that later? We could find another grant and get that done.
That any of the, Tammy, the roof repairs or plumbing work, that's not absolutely essential, is it?
The roof is not leaking. The issue with the roof is the ice grates
Dams.
are broken. And the plumbing, to replace the shower stems, probably not urgent. The leak in the wall, I'm going to guide our staff through possibly fixing that. The problem with that is it's behind a tiled wall, so if we take the wall down, we're gonna be into some money anyways, but.
Like, what we can do is, for instance, we could look at potentially even putting the roof in the scope of the project, for instance, if that is a concern. I know that you put caution tape right now because all the ice is falling. May potentially then have money to look into it at some time, but, you know, keep the priority of the project on the insulation and all, and determine if you want to spend your contingency.
What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, I'm good with
With the 100.
with what Nene was saying. Yeah, 112. Gotta get it first.
I'm not in love with the contingency, but if we don't use it and we don't have to put our money for it, then I'm fine with that.
sign the motion.
Yeah.
There's two of them.
We'll have two motions, one to rescind the previous motion and
We'll sign it.
And thanks, Nathan, for the additional information that you sent to all of us before the meeting, just so that we could sit down and look at the numbers.
fortunately, we were able to get an extension to put in this resolution, so
Pardon me?
we could get all this additional information, update pricing
That's
on
fair.
quoting.
Is there timelines for when they make the decisions on the gas?
Yes.
Like when would we have an answer from them?
We're hoping that this will go into their, I believe it's in June
June board meeting. It should get June board meeting.
board
So
meeting.
it's unlikely this would happen before next arena season, or would it happen before next?
You have the opportunity to run your chiller throughout the next arena season. It's going to be the following one
yeah, it
where
expired.
you can. Is that accurate, Tammy?
Sorry, what?
Yeah, it expired, and it was set to expire in 2024.
2024.
The chiller.
Yeah.
So they can run for the next 2024 season. It should be fine. It's just going to be fall of 2024 where it's.
It
gonna
will
be a
run for
problem.
the 23-24 season.
Perfect.
It will not go for the 24-25 season.
No. But if we
That's when
got,
the work would be done if we got bigger.
well, it depends, right, Tammy? If you got a yes, let's just play this out. If you got a yes, July the 1st, could you order the chiller and brine pump portion, the first portion, chiller scope of work, and have that installed before the next skating season?
I would definitely try.
That's a possibility, Dave.
But if it's started and then not done, there's a possibility there is no ice.
Yeah.
So,
She would look at that probably and. Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah.
would be my concern.
Yep.
We start something
That
and
timing,
nothing
yeah.
ever goes as planned, and then we've got no ice till January.
Right.
I mean, and that's why we're trying to put this all really quick, right? Because when we determine that we
Yeah.
need to get that chiller, I'm really trying to make sure that we get an approval potentially on this grant as soon as possible. And I mean, at least if not, then we still then, if the answer comes back as no, at least we have some potential still to try to look for other grants, grant opportunities as well. So.
Mm-hmm.
So you said July for an answer on this?
Yeah, the board meeting's in June, by the time they work all that out.
July will go one way or the other.
Okay, resolution 103-23, moved by Councilor McGrath, second by Councilor Morrow. That resolution 90-23 be rescinded in its entirety. All those in favor? Carried. Resolution 104-23, moved by Councilor Morrow, seconded by Councilor McGrath. The Council of the Township of Schreiber authorized the funding application to NOHFC with respect to the renovations at the Schreiber Community Arena and commit $112,800 to the project to be financed. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Resolution 105-23. Moved by Councilor Bryson, second by Councilor McGrath, that bylaw 7-2023 being a bylaw to set tax ratios for prescribed property tax classes for the year 2023 be given first, second, third, and final reading and enacted. Discussion?
William, this was just to keep the tax ratio the same as we had it in 2022, right?
Correct.
Okay.
All those in favor? Carried. Okay, underneath number 2, other business, declaration of surplus asset. Resolution 106-23. Moved by Councillor Bryson, seconded by Councillor Bourgeau, that council declare the 2008 case loader as a surplus asset to be disposed of, and that the loader be advertised for sale on Gov Deals at an opening bid of $35,000. Discussion?
And when did you say the new loader's coming?
I'm not 100% sure, so I'd let Tammy answer that.
I spoke to Strongco today. The deal that we have is either we take the trade-in value or we see what we can get on Gov Deals. So once we determine if the loader is going in as a trade-in, then he will be able to write up his invoice and deliver the loader. So we expect it as soon as we see that this is going to go on Gov Deals for the money that we want. Barring that, it'll, like, the Gov Deals closes on the 21st. So regardless, we'll have it by then. Strongco assures us that, I mean, it'll work out in our favor if we do end up sending the loader in on the trade-in. At least the float is going to be here when it drops off the new, so we won't be out that money. So it'll actually work out in our favor, but we will not be without a loader. They'll make sure of that.
So you're thinking sometime after like March 21st, we'll have the new loader?
Yes.
Okay.
It's in Thunder Bay. They've got the radio in it. They've done whatever they need to do. It's just a matter of waiting to see what we're doing with the case.
So you don't have to accept any bid if you're advertising it
If they meet the reserve, then it'll be sold.
for 35,000.
Yeah. If I mean, we're already there. Usually the last few days on Gov Deals, they start a bidding war,
Yeah.
and that's where you start making your money. So it's just a wait and see kind of game.
Okay.
Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, we'll move into committee of the whole portion of the meeting. And department reports, Director of Operations report.
The Ontario Street reline.
Mm-hmm.
The assignment of a project administration management, that's included in that price is included in the whole project, right, Tammy?
That's right. It's part of our grant. But I just need to RFP it in order to qualify. So we're in that process right now. Closes March 27th.
March 27th, so you think we're online for this year?
Oh, for sure.
For sure.
Yep, the work should be, the contracting company that spoke with us at the mandatory meeting, they were the only one present, but they're the ones that have been doing all of the work in Red Rock and Thunder Bay, and So he's aiming to do our project first or second week of June, and it should be completed in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks? And the handy transit, we're still at the same spot, right? It's just at Spinoni's for repairs?
It is at Spinoni's for repair. We finally got the quote in for the damages, and we've given the go-ahead to Spinoni's to do the repairs under insurance.
So we're going through insurance?
Yep. We'll pay the deductible. And the RFP on the new handy transit has closed. I only got one bid out of the 7 invitations that I sent. So it was kind of disappointing, but we'll bring that to the next meeting.
Okay. And the thought would be repair this one and then trade it in on the new one?
Nathan?
You'd have certainly options determining where to go with it. There may be potentially good money for trading it in. I know that they're certainly in demand. That being said, I think you'd want to look at all options. Like, does it make sense to keep it in-house? We did that formally with the older handy transit that we do have. The rec department was using it. They did take out the lift, for instance, but they didn't continue to use it. It has a lot of storage capacity, so it's valuable in that sense. I think we can certainly do a report to determine whether it should be surplus or
Okay. So we can expect that too?
Yeah.
Okay.
in the future.
Okay.
Okay, number 2, senior programmer, coordinator report, me?
Yeah, I can speak to that.
Yeah, go ahead then.
Okay, so, I mean, this goes back to the Christmas social, so I talked about pictures were posted on Facebook, and there was a lot of positive feedback from the community on the opportunity to have that available, that picture booth available at the party, so that's good. A new thing that started is Tuesday coffee time, and it seems to be going very well with quite a few seniors participating, coming and having coffee, and then there are people that are bringing pastries and baking, and it's all good. So events that are running in February, March are floor curling spiel. We had that. The mayor and myself participated with grade 7 and 8 students, and had a really good curling bonspiel. It was all the young people I talked to. They really enjoyed that. They had never done that before and really enjoyed it. So that was successful. Sewing 101.
And the mayor come in second.
Yeah.
Some parts you forget.
Yeah, well, I'm just disappointed that you and I didn't get to work it out in the final, but maybe next year.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Sewing 101 has been very successful. Up to 15 participants are attending that session with all materials are supplied. So there's no cost, and you can learn how to operate your sewing machine and also how to clean it and make it run. So, successful program. Virtual bingo and in-house bingo isn't happening right now. That's been put off. Paint night, another night that was very successful. That was held in the municipal complex here. 28 participants. And there was a snowshoe excursion. There was a few participants, but I mean that will be an ongoing event. Membership. There's 49 new members, and I believe the signed up members at this time are 301. And there will be a push on to recruit more members, and also to the past membership, to get them to sign up again. An email will be going out to all of them to get them in. I think last year we were almost up to 400, so it's lots of engagement on Facebook. That's ongoing. So I'll vote into that report.
There's something on here, Dan, about your annual grant proposal. Did you guys get your annual grant proposal in for your continued funding?
Which one was
The
that?
seniors, the senior living?
Senior
That's only
living.
the January minutes that you're looking at.
So that went in?
The grant proposal
Yes.
went in,
Okay,
Yes.
but we wouldn't have reports yet.
okay. Perfect. And I've
Okay.
been for coffee. It's busy.
Yeah.
Number 3, by law enforcement officer report.
Mayor, can we add this to the closed session of the next meeting? I just had some questions that were specific. Thanks.
Yeah, I don't know if that'll, I just find it, and maybe that's a better place to talk about it. I just find it, I mean, it's a report, but, you know, okay, I'll leave it alone.
This, running tickets, I think I've asked you this before, Nathan. When it says 1 cent to court for non-payment,
Mhm.
so how does that work? We don't go to court for that.
No, I mean,
We just send it.
yes, when the payment isn't what you say made over here, and it's forget how many days it needs to be. I think it's 30 days, or I forget if it's 30 or 60 days. But ultimately, it's called a notice of impending conviction that is sent out to the individual if they don't come to pay it within the remaining time frame. At that point, it's going to be sent to the courts, and then the courts are going to be following up. It's now the
Okay.
court's problem to make sure
Okay.
that that money is spent.
Collected.
Where we'll be involved with is if our bylaw officer has to be present as a witness during those court proceedings.
Okay.
So very
Okay.
similar to what the police have to do for speeding tickets.
Right, okay. I think I've asked you that before too, sorry about that.
Okay, number 4, beautification committee minutes. Actually, I believe the flowers were ordered, but we're still working with the contractor to the hanging baskets. Light up the night event was a success, and pretty much we had our first meeting, and it went over well, and we'll have our next meeting end of April, probably start of May.
Is that when, Mooney, you think you're gonna probably firm up these future project goals?
Oh, we'll definitely talk
Firm them
about
up?
them.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, community economic development meeting minutes.
So we had our first Community Economic Development Committee meeting on March the 6th here. Dan and I both attended, but 2 of our committee members were absent. So it was more of a general meeting. And we talked about, there was some talk about the terms of reference and the flow chart about what the responsibilities were for the committee. There was a discussion held about the chair, but they wanted to wait till we had a full membership. There's a list under 4 of some of the future projects and goals that they had talked about, but Kim was very clear on our main focus for this year was to look for that strategic plan. That was really the focus, because that would decide moving forward where we were going to be. The one thing that the committee and her decided to undertake, because it's something that we can do ourselves, is we're looking at hosting another community business networking meeting. So we've got a meeting next week, I think, on Monday or Tuesday, to follow up on that. And our 2 members will be back. We'll be back to full slate for committee members. But it was a good meeting. Dan, you want to?
No, the only other thing we talked about the cruise ship readiness plans.
Right.
That's going to be pretty interesting, but that won't be till 2024. But it'll be, we had some discussion on why the cruise ship's coming to Schreiber in Wood Bay, or Collingwood Bay, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And they want, and they're targeting the Ganilda, that cruise ship. They have a couple of submersibles, and they want to go down and look at the Ganilda. So there was some discussion on that whole story of the Ganilda, and that's something that, in my opinion, we really need to market. Like, that story is just, the whole story is pretty amazing what happened there. So some people didn't
even realize, yes.
Didn't know
That's where it was.
that ship was down there, but great opportunity for us.
Oh, if I remember correctly, like when I was talking about the cruise ship there during the campaign, was they were talking about the Granelda, and then they were talking about coming in Schreiber in the beach, like, and doing the trails, and of course the museum and whatnot too. So
Yeah, that's all.
That's all, yeah. Kind of part of future planning, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I think I said Dan Bree or Dan, one of the two, that it was good to see that the Economic Development Committee is on track kind of with council.
Yeah.
A lot of the things that they're talking about that we've already had discussion with and everything like that, so that part was good. Yeah, no, that's good. And you got another meeting next week, you said?
Mm-hmm. That's
Good.
for that. We're going to finish planning that networking session.
Okay. Number 6 in the OCWA Regulation 170-2022, and we have Patrick here, you said, Tammy?
Yep, Patrick's here to present the annual reports.
There, that should be good now.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just share my screen here. Oh, you'll have to enable me to share my screen if you don't mind.
Perfect.
How's that?
Looks good.
Okay. So today I'll be talking about the Section 11 and Schedule 22 annual reports for the Schreiber water treatment plant. So just a few definitions and acronyms if you're not familiar with. We've got maximum acceptable concentration, adverse water quality incident, material regulation, CT concentration of chlorine and time of contact, NTU for nephelometric turbidity units, PTTW is permit to take water, municipal drinking water license, both water advisory cubic meters and microgram. Municipal drinking water system annual reports. So for the Ontario OREG 17003, the Safe Drinking Water Act requires an annual report to be prepared for each drinking water system. This report is intended to inform both the public and municipal council about the operation of the drinking water system over the previous calendar year. Section 11 of ORA 1703 requires the development and distribution to the public of an annual report summarizing water quality monitoring results, adverse water quality incidents, system expenses, chemicals used in the water treatment process. Section 11 summarizes the quality of the treated water. Chemicals used in the water treatment process are chlorine gas, polyaluminum silicate sulfate, or PAS, and soda ash.
So I have a question on the poly.
Sure.
Is that the coagulant, or?
Yes, it is. That's the coagulant.
So it was saying in this report that it might not be the best coagulant.
It's
ahead of the
possible.
So the chemical was chosen in 2002, and it may be possible that a different coagulant may be more effective. So do you have any update on that, Patrick?
Yeah, that's part of our filter assessment study that we'll be doing, is testing additional coagulants and then coming to a conclusion of maybe one being better than PAS. Though I believe that was the conclusion originally in 2002, was that PAS was the best coagulant for the system. Though, raw water quality characteristics change over time, so, the proper coagulant to use could also change over time. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, let's move on. System expenses. So a few system expenses we had in 2022 are air release valves, annual backflow preventer maintenance, chemical drum pump, valve positioner and actuators, electric forklift. We've got a raw flow meter, turbidity meter upgrade, and hydrant flushing.
Patrick?
Yes.
On page 4, maybe Tam knows this, you've also got, you had in here UV conversion and new generator project phase 2.
Yes, those, that was a mistake. There was some sewage expenses that were in the report. That's been removed. And the revised report was sent out, actually, I think this morning. So that the revised report would have any sewage expenses removed from the report. So I apologize for the confusion.
Okay, so there's an updated report coming, is what you're saying?
Yes, it was sent out this morning.
Patrick, I got one last week late. Are you saying that there's another one coming?
If you didn't receive it this morning, I'll have to double check. It should have been sent to the township. But if not, I'll double check and have it sent to you right away.
Nathan, that's the one I asked you if we could swap out the files. Yeah. So I'm not sure if we're looking at the most current one or not.
No, we'll have to put the most updated one.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so the reported adverse water quality incidents for 2022 are on March 23rd, reported a HA exceedance of 82 micrograms per liter, and the maximum acceptable concentration is 80 micrograms per liter. May 14th, 15th, and June 1st, we experienced 3 separate high turbidity events greater than 1 NTU. And on July 29th, we also reported an HA exceedance of 82.1 micrograms per liter. So Schedule 22 of ORA 17003 requires the development and distribution to Council of an annual report summarizing incidents of regulatory noncompliance and associated corrective actions. In addition to providing flow monitoring results for the purpose of enabling the owner to assess the capability of the system to meet existing and planned demand. So Schedule 22 summarizes the quantity of the raw and treated water. So we're looking at daily flow rates, raw water, average daily volume versus the permit to take water, and a maximum daily volume versus the permit to take water. For treated water, we'll be looking at the average daily volumes versus municipal drinking water license, and the maximum daily volume versus MDWL. So in 2022, the average daily volume was 1,424.81 cubic meters. The permit to take water is 4,579 meters cubed per day. That's 31% of your daily allowance for raw water. The maximum daily volume in 2022 was 1,783 cubic meters, which is 39% of your permit to take water. Treated water flow rates, average daily volume was 1,099 meters cubed, or 24% of your maximum allowable municipal drinking water license. Your maximum daily volume was 1,552 meters, which is 34% of your maximum allowable volume. So next section of the report.
Patrick, back one step. The monthly average and maximum daily flows through your charts, it looks like July and August the flows are up from the rest of the months.
Yes.
Is that due to lawn watering, like outside use?
You know what? It could be due to a lot of summer activities, people filling their pools, you know, extended lawn watering or gardening. I mean, the reasons for it could be really any kind of summer activity, and it's not uncommon for flows to be higher in the summertime.
Okay. Okay.
And it could have been possibly, you know, if you had water leaks in town, that could be another reason as well.
Okay, thanks.
So the next section is the Schedule 22 summary report is the regulatory non-compliance and corrective action section. So we had 3 non-compliances on the last inspection report. And the first was permit to take water exceedance of 60.22 liters per second, with 53 liters per second is the max allowable at any given moment. And this is completed as there's no further action required, because this was due to a maintenance issue that occurred while a technician was on site trying to repair one of the valves, and the incorrect valve was opening, allowing excess raw water to go to waste, which increased the flows. So the MCP understands the situation, but they still issued the non-compliance due to the permit to take water limits. So the next one, so do records indicate that the treatment equipment was operated in a manner that achieved the design capabilities required under Ontario Regulation 170-3 or a DWWP and or MDWL issued under Part 5 of the Safe Drinking Water Act at all times that the water was being supplied to the consumers. So this has to do with the turbidity events that occurred. And the action plan is for us to ensure that all 5 filters are serviceable and optimal operating condition by April 15th. And we're going to also perform a filter media inspection during the period of March 15th, April 15th. So this is in progress as we have ordered anthracite as well as several butterfly valves to replace some of the leaking valves that may be leading to some media loss and other issues during the backwash sequences. So number 3 is have operators in charge been designated for all subsystems for which comprise the drinking water system. So this is completed as OCWA submitted proposed changes to the OIC and ORO documentation issues to the MECP. This was related to them seeing inconsistencies with OIC and ORO in the logbooks. They wanted to see an OIC and an ORO every day of the week, so 7 days a week, including Saturday, Sunday. And normally, if we don't have someone working Saturday, Sunday, as the operators work Monday to Friday, if they didn't get a call out, there would be no logbook entry, as we had a blanket statement letter that was posted at the plant that basically said that during, at all times, this is the ORO and the OIC, et cetera, though the MECP, in this particular case, didn't see that as sufficient. So they wanted to see actual logbook entry on a 24-hour period, 7 days a week, an entry for OIC and ORO in the logbooks. So that's actually been taken care of and has been completed, so no further action on that. The next are best management practices. These aren't necessarily legislative, so there's no mandate to achieve these goals, but they are best management practices, and they're something that we should look at as a group and try to achieve these goals. So the first one, the owner did not have a program or a maintained schedule for routine clean out, inspection, and maintenance of reservoirs and elevated storage tanks. Now, this is basically because the elevated storage tanks is so new. It hasn't been even up for 5 years yet. And usually, you get the inspections done like every 5 to 10 years. 5 years is usually best. We haven't even got to that yet, so we're looking at next year for an inspection of the reservoir, or sooner if it's possible. And then from there, we can kind of gauge a plan and come up with a maintenance plan for the cleaning and inspection of the elevated storage tanks. The next one is there's no program in place for inspecting and exercising valves. Now, I had a discussion with Tammy on this, as we're going to try to incorporate this with the hydrant flushing each year. And that might turn into a plan which separates the town into 2 or maybe 3 sections, that we would complete one section each year, which we're allowed to minimize the cost annually, as to try and do all the flushing and all the valves, in a specific timeline, could be a little bit messy and also expensive. Number 3, were the inspection questions sufficient to address other identified best practice issues? So this was kind of a long one, and I just summarized into a couple of point forms. So they're basically looking at best practices concerning the filter assessment that they basically mandated on the township to complete by the end of by 2024, as well as ceasing the use of the pre-chlorination. This is going to be beneficial for reducing the HAAs in the system. Testing alternative coagulants, so that's part of our filter assessment study that we'll be doing. It's in progress. The possibility of more than 1 or 5 filters to backwash or to waste. Currently, we don't have this capability. That's something that we'll be looking at in the study. Also, the issue with filter turbidity, boil water advisories. So anytime there's a filter turbidity issue over 1, we would issue a boil water. This is something that we'll be discussing with the MECP to maybe find some common ground there, and maybe have a little bit less of a extreme measure for these events. And the last one was the snow removal for the reservoir. This was a recommendation. It's not something that we absolutely need to have, because I know there's concerns about the safety of the crew removing the snow on that incline. So it's just something we can consider. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks, Patrick.
Any questions?
I have a couple. So following on your schedule 22, following you've got pages of lists of, just a second, what you call them, during the operational year, following additional failures were documented in the facility logbook. Here's my question. Out of 69 issues, 87% of these were due to filter valve failures. Is this filter optimization study, are you hoping that that's going to cure these type of problems?
Well, unfortunately, the filter valve issues are a little tricky because a lot of them have to do with the backwash sequence. We're hoping that the engineers will come up with a solution for this issue. We know that it's definitely the main focus for a lot of the callouts that we get.
Yeah.
And a lot of the disruptions that we have at the plant are due to a lot of these valves. Now, the current state, I mean, a lot of them, either have minor leaks or, some of them major leaks, which is why we're doing replacements of some of these valves as soon as those valves arrive. The issue is kind of deep. I mean, it's a programming issue has many layers, as well as a mechanical issue, with just the age of some of these valves. We have been replacing, actuators and positioners kind of as we go. Doesn't seem to really solve the issue as we replace one, then another one fails and so on. And we just kind of keep going around in circles with these automated valves.
Okay. And the only other thing I have is at the beginning of both reports, it says that given a copy of the annual summary for both of these reports for system can be given without charge to every person who requests a copy. So maybe this is more for you, Nathan. Is this something that we can post on our website or something you should not post on your website?
It always goes on our website.
It goes on our website? Okay, that's it. That's all I had. Anybody else? Okay, thanks, Patrick.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
So we're ready to move into communications? Okay, in communications, we had the hydro internet questions.
That was some very talented staff, because that email got sent to me, I didn't know where to go, so I sent it to Nathan, and him and Tammy were able to figure it out and get some answers. I thought the answers were interesting, which is why I said include this in their package, because I had no idea.
Which part?
But you know, Bart.
Hydro or the internet?
The hydro, that the hydro poles are so old in Schreiber, and we're actually on their list.
Yeah.
And I think you've got some thoughts about this too, right?
Well, yeah, we have to lobby. It seems like you got a contact there. Maybe Tammy's got another contact. I know Red was contacting Hydro, and we. It seemed like forever trying to get 4 poles moved for the splash pad park downtown, so we backed off a bit with the rest of it. But no, I mean, I retired in 2016, and they were supposed to do the whole town then. And I'm not saying they quit because I retired or anything. I'm just
No, it's 2023.
That's how long back I was there. And we got to get into the funding for the internet if we so choose.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think there has to be a couple letters, or at least a letter going out from mayor and council.
Yeah.
lobby them to get them going. But then it comes up to, and I'm going off, a little off here, but then it comes up to, and I'm not saying I don't agree with, we have to pick and choose our big projects like this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you get certain individuals that if you don't chase the internet, the broadband, that are upset, and then you get certain individuals, if you don't chase the big money for the housing or whatever, a certain bunch get upset, and so we have to prioritize, and Dan wasn't far off the base there when we have to figure out which
projects we need that.
and if that means putting out a short survey by with 6 or 7 identified projects, so be it. But I mean, that's what we got to do, and it's definitely all good questions on the internet, though.
Did you get any information from this individual regarding the internet? I'm just.
His main concern was that they were having several power outages, and he was replacing, you know, like electronic equipment over it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he said it was damaged many months ago, but they put up a new pole, but didn't hook up to new lines. So at my house, outages have caused an oven, a pellet stove, and a PVR machine to malfunction.
Oh, okay.
So he was concerned about that. But his second point, as mentioned by you, when T-Bay announced years ago that they were installing high-speed internet in Terrace Bay and Marathon, now that's true,
Yep.
but as you guys well know, if you're looking on Facebook, there's an ad almost every day, right? Come on about that. I was told Schreiber was not eligible as our infrastructure and our lines in our town were outdated. At some point, and I think this is what the mayor's talking about, Hydro had replaced poles on part of the town, north of the town, so why weren't the rest of them? But here, this fellow's response in regards to pole infrastructure, it is substandard and does require an upgrade. There is a project in place to upgrade the infrastructure, and the Lions field manager has been advocating for this project to continue. Unfortunately, this time I don't have a date, but I think to lobby to get a date, because we're already getting questions about, well, how come Terrace Bay and Marathon?
Yeah, no, we definitely gotta, because it's.
But again, where is it in our list of
Yeah,
priorities?
I just
That's
wanna-
when that came along.
I just want to clarify for
Yeah.
the internet issues. I don't want to fall behind the bandwagon for
No.
what you say fiber optics, but the speeds we get here for where we are substantial. I'm
Mhm.
talking about right now you have the potential to have a subscription with Shaw up to 1,500 megabits, at least for my house in the middle of town. I understand that where there are service deficiencies would be at Walker's Lake. That's
Right.
where we had looked into some pricing with Shaw to see if they would extend there. But this was actually quite substantial, because the fastest speed that was available just about 3 years ago was about 75 megabits per second. Now it's 1,500 megabits through Shaw. When I had a conversation with Shaw regarding the internet, they stated like, how are you going to be competing with T-Baytel that's going to have fiber? They stated that they're going to match the same speeds with their coax cable. Shaw is now marketing their internet here in town as fiber.
Right.
Even though it's not on a physical fiber cable. It does, what you say, beg the question, though, in the future, how much speed will the coax cable that Shaw has be able to support? So I do understand the need of wanting to.
But to find out that our poles and
Upgrade
lines
that.
are
Yep.
substandard, that, because there are probably gonna be opportunities, right?
Yep.
And there's been so much stuff, I think locally, Nathan, right, from
Yep.
Terrace Bay Marathon going, we've got everything on T-Baytel, and now we click and don't see a download. It's there. So we're gonna get more complaints. Whether it's a priority project, I think I agree with Dan, it's something we gotta look at.
But
It was just weird how that came along.
But to Nathan's point, the internet, that that is super fast. Like,
Yeah.
to put that in perspective, I have Starlink,
You do?
and you may get 80 megabytes per second to
Yep.
maybe 120, 130. So what he's saying is it's 10 times faster than Starlink, which is,
Which is better than exploring
but
it.
I mean, it costs more money. It's all about cost.
Mm-hmm.
We
Right.
phoned down east.
Right?
We phoned down east, I can't remember, maybe you could, remember Nathan, and for a fiber optic study, remember? And, they're saying, why do you guys want to study, basically? You got good internet up there,
So-
like, they're looking,
Mm-hmm.
and they're saying, there's places that don't got internet,
Don't have
or,
any internet.
or there's places that you think you got problems, you got no problems.
Yeah.
But in saying, I would like to see them, like, it's disgusting what Hydro has done, because they did from the highway to Drummond Street. And Bell and everybody else hasn't even got their infrastructure off the poles that are cut in half.
I know.
Their infrastructure is still on them
Hanging there,
poles, and
yes.
the new poles are sitting there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no,
Yeah.
they should be all over that, and that pole that, by the back lane of, where the Schreiber Hotel used to be, like, that's not even a pole, it's a twig,
Right?
you know?
So,
Anyway,
he
that's
just,
my rant.
the sparking was his big concern, but the second one, I just thought it was interesting to hear. Because if you had said to me, I'd have thought, I don't know about our pole infrastructure here. So it was interesting about it that it actually needs to be replaced.
We went down to lobby at down south with the ministers, and I actually took pictures of our poles, and we did bring it forward. Unfortunately, not too much happened, or any, I would say, formal communication from Hydro One, but we do have a contact that's aware of this now, and it's
Why not?
something.
It wouldn't hurt to send a
pursuing.
letter, right? That the mayor and council has directed a letter to be sent, and yeah, can we
Yeah.
move this project up? Can we get a date even?
Yep.
Right.
Yes,
And it was just weird how that came about, but it was actually very informative.
it seemed once we got, hold of the guys over at the splash pad, they were great.
Yeah.
They'd bend over backwards for it.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else in communication?
The only one I seen was the one from Moonbeam on the closure of public schools. There is a moratorium on that,
On pupil accommodation reviews, yeah.
but I guess that's up for review or up for change, so. Wasn't that something that was on the table years ago? that
Mhm.
they
I
wanted-
I think it was
Yes.
from Shunia or somewhere around there that we saw another resolution.
Yeah.
So did we support that?
Should we call that?
Did we
I think
support-
we did.
Okay,
Yes. Yeah, we did.
okay, well, that's good then.
Do
Then
you
we
recall
don't-
that at all,
Yeah.
Cecile? No, I didn't. That's when it originally came. There was quite a few resolutions at that time.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that this resolution for municipality, that was from Chatham Kent, reducing municipal insurance costs. I'm guessing that's something we'd probably bring to a municipal league, yeah?
NOMA has been, I believe it's NOMA that's
NOMA?
been looking at this and pursuing that. Last year or the year before, we had provided our 5 years data on insurance increases and forwarded it over to them.
Mhm.
We also did have a delegation with the province where we discussed the increasing insurance costs. Unfortunately, they kind of stated that they're trying to understand why it's going up
Right.
too, and they don't have any evidence right now to sort of steered them towards a plan to bring it down. So I think it was just a,
Because our broker basically said it was market, right?
yes,
Yeah.
to some degree, there's been a lot of claims in the general market.
It's a hard market, he tells us.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of claims, lots of payouts.
For municipalities, always the issue has been joint several liabilities, and
Well, I
that's
think
another issue.
I'll back you up even 3 more steps. Is there more than 3 companies who could provide insurance quotes, right? There's not a whole lot of insurance companies out there selling this. Yeah.
Unfortunately, right, you're gonna see a mix of couple. I mean, we ultimately go through a broker, right? So they're constantly looking for the best pricing for us, but it's a challenge because when we have even put out RFPs in the past, right? Everyone is looking at the same people for that pricing. You're getting the Frank Cow and you're getting
Right? Yeah.
it's Zurich. It's the same parties.
Okay, move on to unfinished business and the annual conference.
I think again, myself and Anne Marie are going.
Not to AMO.
Not Amo?
No, I'm gone the end of April, first 2 weeks of May.
Going to emo. Emo's in August.
Oh, it's in August, damn it. Okay, yeah, I guess I'm going. Dave, you wanted to go to that one.
I can't.
So
So that is me. Okay, sorry.
You'll enjoy
All
that,
right.
right?
So I think we're.
End of
Anybody
August.
else want to enjoy it?
Yeah, Bench. End of August, that is. Okay.
London, yeah, that's a nice city.
Yeah.
Weather's good.
So basically, you're looking for somebody else, because Dave canceled it. So, and Benji, you can't?
Well, I probably could. I have to get vacation approved, but normally not an issue.
When is it again, Cecile? August,
August 20th to 23rd, I believe.
right?
Yep.
I didn't even print it up because I thought I didn't have to worry about that.
Uh,
Sorry, 20 there.
When do you need an answer by, Cecile?
Well, we passed the deadline for the early bird registration, so, but the full package is now sold out. So
I thought you were registering 3 of us anyways, just in case. No?
No,
Okay,
because then we're on the hook for the
okay, sorry.
I had to cancel all one time.
So the full package is sold out.
full package is sold out, so only package B is available now, which does not include the social, I believe. I think that's the only difference. Package A includes the Tuesday evening
So
networking event, so
Okay.
package, so yourself and Anne-Marie are registered for that one.
We are registered for that?
You're registered for package A.
Yeah.
Package A is no longer available. So only package B is not available.
So you have to behave.
We'd sneaky.
Don't worry.
Just kidding.
Sure I could find something to do.
I don't think there's a deadline for, there was a deadline for early bird, but I don't think there. No, it just says registrations after March the 3rd, or were processed at the regular rate.
So they'll basically just have to hear from Benji and see.
Yeah, it shouldn't be an issue, but I can find out pretty quick.
Worst case scenario, it'll be it's you and me.
Oh. Benji can't go, I can go.
Oh, you can go as well? Okay.
Yeah?
Nice. I've gone to Toronto, so. Either you go if you can.
Yeah, you'll find that interesting. It's good exposure.
Okay,
You could have mine.
I like this. We're even gonna get home for supper.
We are.
Some of you.
Good point, Tammy. Wrap it up, right?
Anyway, that brings us to the end of the meeting, so. Resolution 107-23. Moved by Councilor McGrath, seconded by Councilor Bryson, that the meeting now adjourn at 5:22 PM. All those in favor?